Hi, I'm Jono from Ignition Networks, and I'm going to talk you through the setup and deployment of the New Zealand EMAT satellite terminals. The first thing to consider is site selection. The location you choose for the satellite terminal will ideally remain suitable for the whole duration of your deployment. Choosing this carefully at the start will save time later on. Key things to look for when choosing a site are that it should be accessible for mains power and other cabling to the inside network equipment. There are options for Wi-Fi and DC power to the terminal in some instances, but just be sure any cables you do need will reach and they won't cause hazards for people working around you. The site should be level and clear of debris. The equipment will ideally be level when it's deployed because this helps with its ability to align and also its stability. The site should have a clear view of the sky towards the north at about a 45-degree angle upwards. The satellite we're pointing towards is in the northern sky, and we need to ensure there are no obstructions such as trees or buildings in the way so that the signal can successfully reach the satellite. The antenna should be away from foot and vehicle traffic. It should be installed in a way that is not going to obstruct areas where people and vehicles operate, such as walkways or car parks. There is a minimum safe distance for people in front of the antenna when it's transmitting, and this needs to be allowed for. It relates to the direct line in front of the dish and not to its place on the ground. Plan to keep people at least 4 meters away from the front edge of the dish. You will need to allow further if taller objects such as trucks may pass in front of it, because you don't want them to pass through the signal path. It should be sheltered from the prevailing wind. The satellite terminal can withstand winds up to 50 kilometers per hour, but it will need to be sandbagged or pegged down. Above this wind speed, the system will need to be shut down and the dish removed. The site you select might be a clear lawn area like we have here. It might be on a roof of a city building, or it might be in the middle of a tennis court or car park. Wherever it is, you won't regret taking time to get it right at the start. EMAT has two types of satellite terminals. We will call them the GX and the KU for short. They look and behave in a very similar way to each other, but each has some specific deployment requirements. The key differences to help you know which unit you're using is that the KU has 7 petals that make up a 1 meter carbon fiber dish and a pair of N connectors on the rear of the antenna control unit, or ACU. By comparison, the GX has only 4 petals, making up a 75 centimeter dish, and no connectors on the rear face. For the first part of the setup, the process is the same, and we'll cover off the differences as we go along. Each satellite terminal comes packed in 2 black Pelican cases. Each case has either the ACU or the RF unit, along with a set of dish pedals. Make sure you have the correct cases before you start, because they're not compatible with each other. Each unit comes with a laminated quick start guide to prompt you through the setup process. You should always refer back to this if you have any questions. Now we have selected our site, we can take our cases out and open the ACU case. Remove the bag with the dish components and carefully put this aside. Carefully lift out the ACU by lifting at the cutout points on each side. Place this down in the pre-selected place, making sure to orientate it in the right direction. You should now fold out the legs to about 45 degrees from the ACU. We can check which direction is north by using a smartphone, smartwatch, or compass. Get your smartphone out and place it on top of the ACU to show how level it is. Use the Spirit Level app or some other tool to get it level. Use the adjustment knobs on the ends of the legs. Now is a good time to either peg or sandbag the unit. Now open the second case, which should have the RF unit. The KU RF unit is larger than the GX, but each needs to be handled with care. Carefully lift this out and place it on the ACU facing north. Use the thumb screws to secure it. With the KU terminal, now is a good time to connect the coax and Ethernet cables. To reduce the chance of cross-threading the N-type connector, Twist it a quarter of a turn backwards first to seat it correctly, before starting to do it up. Next, insert the pedals to the RF unit, starting at the bottom. Be sure to align them and locate them together so the clips can fasten. Work your way around in both directions to the top. With the GX, first open the 4 locking clamps and start inserting panels from the bottom. When the bottom 2 panels are installed, close the clamps and move to the top pedals. Do the same here, being sure to snap the pedals closed. You can now connect the short cables between the ACU and the RFU. With the KU, the blue cable should go between the RX connector on the ACU and the X-pole connector on the RF unit. The red cable goes between the ACU and the buck. Also, connect the antenna control cable. On the GX terminal, the blue RX cable will connect between the ACU and the LMB. Now carefully take the feed horn out of the RF unit case and screw this on to the thread in the centre of the dish. Don't touch or grab the lens at the top. The antenna is now assembled, and with the GX it is complete. On the KU, connect the receive coax to the RX port and the transmit coax to the TX port. Connect the network cable that comes from the KU terminal to port 1 on the satellite modem. Before you switch the power on, now is a good time to check that your environment is tidy with cables out of the way and that the cases are closed with the quick start guides safely inside. Set up any safety barriers you need and check that people are clear of the equipment. When you're happy it's safe, you can turn on the modem and the antenna controller. As the ACU powers up, it will run through some self-checks and then start finding the satellite. It takes several minutes to complete, and you'll see the screen flash up with various messages as it does this. Once the antenna has locked onto the satellite, it will stop moving and the display will show a full bar graph on the right-hand side. The GX terminal will show net OK on the top line of the screen, and the KU modem will have both the RX and TX LEDs showing green. At this point, the satellite system is ready to go, and you can proceed with the setup of the Hawk case. Packing down the equipment basically follows the setup process in reverse. Start by stowing the antenna system to prepare it for being disassembled. Press and hold the down arrow of the ACU keypad until the stow message flashes on the screen. Once the antenna resets to the lowest position and stops moving, it is then safe to turn it off and the KU modem. So in this video, we've learned how to choose a site for the satellite terminal, how to set it up, and how it should behave. If you have any further questions, you can refer back to the Quick Start Guide or contact us at Ignition Networks.